We got a Twitter question. So this question is from Nico H. His handle is at @nhilsensour. Hey man, I'd like to hear your thoughts on blank. I'm going to leave out the name for this project. I think that's huge, especially during the bull run. Many devs will build on Pulsechain, and getting in these projects early might be STH. Not sure what STH means. First of all, it's very interesting that within Pulsechain, we kind of have our mini .com bubble, in the sense that during the .com bubble, people would basically add a .com to their ticker, and being that the internet was new, it was the hot ecosystem just off going public. You know, they'd go up hundreds of X's just because they added a .com and people would FOMO into it. So I think the same thing is happening here with Pulsechain. You have a lot of these new projects coming in and they add Pulse. It may or may not have anything to do with Pulsechain, but people just throw money at it. They're able to raise hundreds of thousands and possibly millions of dollars. What else do we know about the .com bubble? During the .com bubble, the overwhelming majority of projects did not make it. The overwhelming majority of projects went under, and that was in a regulated environment. You'd have to file with SEC in order to go public. In crypto, there is no regulation. So we are essentially in the Wild West. Whatever your chances were of making a ton of money during the .com bubble, they are that much smaller in crypto. And that's not to accuse any project in particular of being a scam or of being a rug pull, but even if it is one of the genuine projects, the likelihood of succeeding over a long period of time, meaning over the next 5, 10, 15 years, is extremely low. I mean, that's just how it works in crypto. Most cryptos are not going to make it. Lucky for us, we know of a founder who has a proven track record of a project that has outperformed Bitcoin and Ethereum from launch and has done a 10,000x in under 2 years. The origin address hasn't sold. He implements excellent game theory. Hex right now is down 90%, and Pulsechain and PulseX have not even launched yet. So those are new projects that he's launching that are innovative and forward thinking, and they haven't even launched. So what I would say is chances of making it are extremely, extremely slim. And even if you'd say that it would make it, you have to ask yourself, is it going to outperform Richard Heart projects? And the likelihood of that are even lower, just based off his track record and his game theory. A lot of these projects don't see it as competing with Pulse or Hex, and maybe they are, maybe they're not, maybe they're even benefiting the ecosystem. But at the end of the day, for people like me, and I'm assuming like you, because you're interested in this project, you have to decide which projects you park your money into. If you don't think it is going to outperform Hex, Pulsechain, or PulseX, you're essentially selling yourself short. I mean, you are putting yourself in a position to not maximize the opportunity that we have being in early in this excellent ecosystem. That's really the reason I'm sure a lot of people notice that I only talk about Hex, Pulsechain, and PulseX. At the current time, I believe that is where the opportunity is. The goal of crypto is to get rich, and I think the Richard Heart ecosystem presents the greatest opportunity. I don't want to basically accuse them, but I'm saying just in crypto, there is a decent chance that a given project is a scam or rug pull, especially if they have an anonymous founder. The founder is anonymous and he's sitting on an entire bag. While it may not have even been his intention in the beginning, he might just say, hey, why should I keep on developing? I could just pull the rug and live a comfortable rest of my life. And even if the founders are sincere and really want to do well for their sacrificers and token holders, the likelihood of them lasting is extremely low, and that much more so the likelihood of them outperforming the opportunity that I see with Hex being down 90% and Pulsechain and PulseX is even lower. So I don't think it would be doing well for my viewers to cover these projects. We have an excellent opportunity. You see Hex, you see the yield it pays you, you see the game theory, you see Pulsechain, PulseX, you see the founder, you see the community. As Richard Heart says, his projects pretty much check out all the boxes that are required of a crypto to make it in the long run. And not only that, the projects are new. I mean, there are other projects like Ethereum and maybe possibly Monero that also have an extremely high chance of making it. But they've been around for 7-8 years and the returns have already diminished considerably. So you're not going to make those insane gains in a short period of time. So while yes, there are a lot of projects that are developing on Pulsechain, the likelihood of them outperforming the Richard Heart projects at this time, in my opinion, are very low. And that's really why I don't cover them. Now, a lot of people would label you as a Richard Heart maximalist, by definition, associate you with a Bitcoin maximalist. But it's important to disaggregate a Richard Heart maximalist from a Bitcoin maximalist. Bitcoin maximalism is toxic and detrimental to people in the crypto space because Bitcoin is not a good project anymore. I mean, there's nothing good about it. Not only has the returns diminished, but there is no development. It is old technology. They have not made any upgrades. You can check out my video on will Hex outperform Bitcoin in the long run. You know, I cover that in depth. But essentially, Bitcoin maximalism is not good because Bitcoin is not good. But Richard Hart is the antithesis. He's the opposite of Bitcoin. He is forward thinking. He adapts to the changing environment. A good example, first of all, is when he realized Bitcoin is terrible, he created Hex. He puts the people that protect the price first. He puts the people that commit to not selling, which therefore drives the price up. He gives them the inflation. Also, he created T-shares, which is extremely innovative and forward thinking. When the gas fees got too high, he created Pulsechain. He is doing the system state fork of the Ethereum network. And obviously, he's created the decentralized exchange on Pulsechain. So, well, yes, there might be other projects that are necessary. You may even say are essential for the continuity of Pulsechain as a blockchain, meaning it has to have development on it. That doesn't mean that I have to cover that. We need to disaggregate the importance of development and the importance of covering projects that are being developed, because essentially if I cover projects that are being developed, a lot of people are going to end up putting their money there instead of Hex, Pulsechain, and PulseX, and I think they're going to underperform, in my opinion, not financial advice, not necessarily because these are bad projects, but just because Richard Hart has the best projects and it is still early, in my opinion, not financial advice, and the returns have not diminished yet. And the likelihood in general of other projects making it is extremely, extremely low. Most startups don't make it. 13 out of 14 startups go under. The majority of the companies during the dot-com bubble era didn't make it. The majority of cryptos during the 2018 bull market didn't make it. And the majority of cryptos during the past bull market are most likely not going to make it. If you look at like the 2018 bull market, the only projects that came back and made new all-time highs that I could think of are Bitcoin, Ethereum, Monero, and Cardano. I think that's about it. And there were hundreds, if not thousands of tokens that were around at the time. So in terms of the importance of development on Pulsechain, I think it's important, but I don't think it's so important in the first bull run. So I think if you're a developer and you want to launch a project on Pulsechain, I think a good thing to do would be to wait 4 or 5 years for the returns to diminish. And even though in 4 or 5 years, I think Pulsechain will still be an excellent project, if you have a good project in mind, there will be a decent chance of giving your investors the opportunity to outperform, similar to, you know, what we saw with Ethereum. In the first 1 or 2 bull runs, there were no projects on it, and certainly no projects or ERC20s that outperformed Ethereum. But then in this past bull market, despite Ethereum doing very well, there were projects that launched on it that outperformed, right? Like you look at Chainlink, you look at MakerDAO, and Axie Infinity, a few others. So I think right now, Richard Hart, he's hungry. He has a proven track record. He has excellent projects. I think that is where the opportunity is, not financial advice. Do your own research. But I'm not a Richard Hart maximalist in the sense of blind loyalty to Richard Hart. I think the time will come where people launching on Pulsechain will have the opportunity to give their sacrificers and their token holders a decent chance of, you know, getting the best returns in the market. But I don't think that will happen for another 4 to 5 years. So I'd say, to summarize, with the price of Hex being down 90% and Pulsechain and PulseX not even launching yet, I think that's really where the opportunity is. And I have not seen a project that I can say with conviction, based on the game theory, token distribution, you know, the founders having a proven track record, that I can say with certainty has at least a chance of outperforming Richard Hart's projects. So I think for now, Richard Hart maximalism is the place to be. I hope you enjoyed. Please like, subscribe, and follow me on Twitter. Thank you.